All right, in the parking garage, trying to stay out of the wind. This is gonna be the first in a series, I think, of videos saying what is different in Vegas, in poker in Vegas, compared to all other cities as a whole that I've played in the rest of the country. There are some things that you only see out here, or that you can't do, or like only do out here, things like that. So I have 3 today I'm gonna tell you about, and probably like, I don't know, in a week or 2 weeks, come out with like a part 2. I have like a few other ideas, they're not like fully formed yet, and I think the ideas will keep coming, but for right now, I have 3. The first thing that is different in Vegas, in poker, than any other city is showing bluffs, or like in any way setting people up for later. So in other rooms, in other cities like the Midwest, the Northeast, it can do wonders, like either way, showing a bluff early and then waiting for a strong hand later, or the opposite. If you happen to be dealt some strong hands early, having that image, using that image to your advantage, and bluffing your way out of a hand later. That could be great. The thing is, the people or the person you're setting up need to be at the table for the setup, and then the trap, whatever you want to call the second stage of this plan. When you're in like Council Bluffs, and the same person playing at 5 p.m. you know is still going to be there at midnight, unless he lost every single dollar he has in his pocket. That works. Like, you throw down a bluff, whether it worked or not, you show your cards, you show a bluff at like 5:30 p.m. and at least one person, like maybe the entire table, will still be there at 9 p.m. You know, you show a bluff, and that's great. You don't need to be dealt certain cards to show a bluff. You can just bluff whenever you feel like it, but then you need to be patient to wait for a hand and like trap someone for the end of this setup. And the same people will be at the table, that's fine. In Vegas, you might like show a bluff and think, oh, that's great, okay, I didn't win the hand, but it's great for my image. Everyone sees that I'm willing to bluff, that I just bluffed. Maybe I'm like too eager to like win that money back or something. I might get paid off lighter later. In like 30 minutes, you have no idea how much of that table is still gonna be there. There are times half the table is gone 45 minutes later. I was at a table recently, and I usually look around. I enjoy, it doesn't matter so much in Vegas, but I enjoy being like the longest tenured person at the table. Like everyone else is newer than me. In other cities, it takes like all day for that to happen. There are times in like Council Bluffs or Atlantic City, I'm like, still like the 3rd longest tenured person there, and I've been at the table like 8.5 hours. In Vegas, there are often times it's been like 50 minutes, and I've been there longer than anyone else. So if that's the case, showing a bluff and then like 2.5 hours later, trying to like benefit from that, well, the people you're playing with 2.5 hours later weren't there 2.5 hours ago. They didn't see the bluff. The people who saw it, who are set up, are long gone. So it doesn't do as much. Even if people are there also, there's a slightly different facet of this, even if the same people are there, they usually err on the side of like being conservative. So if you showed a bluff and then like a couple hours later in a hand against the exact same person, you have a very strong hand and you're expecting to get paid off by like second pair or something, probably not gonna happen. The guy's probably just gonna fold second pair to like a very large river bet. You'll get away with like many bluffs in a row. It's tough to like trigger someone to get to the point where they will just call you down incredibly light. So like setting people up like that, not quite a thing. Second is all-nighters. All-nighters, when I started playing, my first 625 hours were in Wisconsin. All-nighters were amazing. This is how they worked. I'm not just talking about a game that happens to be running all night. I'm talking about a game with these characteristics. Potawatomi in Milwaukee, you would have however many tables. Let's say 10 1-3 tables are going at like 7:30 p.m. The people who won never left. The people who left little by little throughout the night were the people who were breaking even or losing. People who were winning didn't leave. So when you get down to the final table of the night at like 3 a.m., those people have been there all day. You've been playing with like at least 2 of them for a really long time, so you know how they've been playing that day, you know their tendencies. Also, stacks are really deep, and like the blinds don't mean much anymore. You might find a game here in Vegas, and all right, there's a table running at 2 a.m., great. it could be like half the table like just showed up like in the past 90 minutes. It's not necessarily people who are playing all afternoon and evening and night. So like stacks aren't incredibly deep, and like you don't even like know that much about these people. You don't have as much information as you would elsewhere. In Milwaukee, it was like you knew the people, and they were also so deep you could get away with like just out of nowhere in a 1-3 game raising to like $30, which like around here like everyone would notice. Everyone would think, wow, that's odd. Is he like just trying to steal? Is he like just playing a monster hand really fast for some reason? Like they would notice. Whatever they think about it, they would at least notice. It would go unnoticed because like stacks were just so deep. It was normal. There was the most money I ever saw on a 1-3 table was a 9-handed 1-3 table in Council Bluffs, Iowa, and we had more than 10 grand on the table. Average stack was over $1,000 in a 1-3 game. In a game like that, like $12 raises were like a joke. Out here, there are plenty of tables where like you raise more than like 12, 15, and like it's like sirens go off, and like people are alerted and they're like really on edge about it. So all-nighters are different. You could play all night. Like you could play out here in Vegas. From like you want to play from 8 p.m. to 11 a.m. the next day. Yes, you can. Your room might go dark. You might have to go to another casino. You might be in the same room, but like your table breaks. Then an hour later, that table breaks. Then an hour later, that table breaks. And you're constantly moving and playing with people you haven't played with. And stacks could be medium, maybe deep, maybe incredibly shallow. You don't know. Like all-nighters in other cities are just a different breed. And I actually thought when I moved here after the 625 hours in Wisconsin, when I moved to Vegas in 2015, I thought I would play an all-nighter. Like, I thought I would play a 24-hour session at least once a month. I don't think it happened one time in 2 years. In Wisconsin, I remember playing a 32-hour session, a 24-hour session, and my last 3 sessions were all above, I think, 18 and a half hours. It's just, it doesn't happen like that. Like, tables die, and even if another table's going, like you were on the best table of the night, the other table's not as good, so you don't feel like playing anymore, you just feel like going to sleep. Like, it's not the same. It's not like the same. It felt a lot like a home game in the other cities. Like, home game, okay, awesome. It's like the same people. It's not like random strangers are showing up to play at like 2 a.m. and they're fresh and they're like buying in for the minimum. It's like you're playing with like the same people, and like the people who are winning are deep, so that's great. You have more money to possibly win off of them, and the people who are losing aren't leaving. They're just rebuying and playing, and they're mad and they're not playing well. They probably weren't playing well at their best, and now they're really mad and tilted and they're playing even worse, so you can win like a quick buy-in off of them like it's nothing. And it was just like, I enjoyed them so much more. Out here, yeah, you could, you know, play those overnight hours if you really want to play like 30 hours in a row. Might need to casino change at some point because your room might go dark, but you could do it. Games are running 24/7, but it's just way different. Third thing is table changing is different out here also. And it's kind of sad because in other cities, like, because the games stay together for so long, the same people stay together, like you could know if you're table changing, if a seat doesn't open at the table you want to move to for like an hour, as soon as it opens you move. Out here, a lot of people do this out here, and I rarely see this in other cities. Someone goes on the list for a table change, and when they finally get called, they say, hold on, let me check. And they don't give the floor an answer. They walk over, they stare at the table, and then they give the floor an answer. A lot of the time people do that just because they're jerks, but some of the time they do it because, like, out here you really don't know if that table is the same as 45 minutes ago when you asked for the table change. Often out here, I'm looking to table change and there's like one seat, and that's the reason I'm looking to change. It's like, my table's not that great. That table looks pretty good, but it's only good because seat number 4, that's the guy I want to play against. And a lot of times, I ask for a transfer, and when a seat eventually opens, it's because seat number 4 went broken, he left. And now I don't care about moving to that table. In other cities, there's like, you know, a 9-handed table, there's like 7 great reasons I want to move to the other table. So I go on the transfer list, and whenever they say, hey, seat open, you moving? Yeah, I don't have to look at it. I mean, I don't look at it anyway. I just say yeah, because I'm not a jerk. I don't want to waste the floor's time. But you just go and you know the table's going to be the same. Okay, maybe there were 7 people you really wanted to stay at the table, and one of those people left, and now there's 6. Still, 6 great reasons to change tables and move to an even better game. And out here, it's often like 1 reason I'm looking to move to another game, and often when a seat opens, that 1 reason is gone, and it's just not a table worth moving to. So table changing is way different also. These are my first 3 reasons on things that only happen in Las Vegas poker that don't happen in poker in other cities, and pretty sure there's going to be at least 1 more installment in this video series, possibly 2 more, and I don't know after that. And remember, rice is a spoon food.